Please welcome Lisa O'Connor, Leader of Security Research and Development for Accenture Technology Labs.
Welcome everyone to the kickoff for Cyber Week with Rethink Cyber. I know many of you have traveled from faraway locations, and it's the frenzy of getting everything packed, getting on the flight, and being ready to be out of your office for a week and pay attention to everything here that you're excited about. So hopefully these jellyfish behind me are starting to calm you and relax you and maybe get you in your happy place. We think about the jellyfish as a wonderful metaphor for the self-healing enterprise, and I'll tell you a little bit about why. The jellyfish has been around for a long time, 630 million years, which puts them before and after dinosaurs. They're still showing up on the beaches, as we saw some of them yesterday, very exciting. And aside from avoiding them on the beaches, these things are incredibly adaptable. There are over 200 species of jellyfish, and they live in every ocean ecosystem that we have. They've managed to adapt to survive. Some can live at 12,000 feet below the surface, dealing with all that pressure. Some of them can live in low salinity and low saltwater conditions. Some of them can even live in freshwater. And the amazing thing about them is each of them is specialized to their environment. And there are some overachieving jellyfish that actually have gotten really creative and have learned to take algae, integrate it with their tissues so that they could do photosynthesis and get energy. That's a really symbiotic ecosystem. And then there are some that if you try to attack them or separate them, they know how to really move the control center and regrow what their intelligent control center is, and we'll call them very advanced sensors. And then there's the Benjamin button, which is an interesting one too, where if you chop it up, not that we're chopping up jellyfish, but let's just say it happens, that they actually regenerate. They start up a new instance of themselves, spinning up another instance. Very fascinating. And so when we think about our self-healing enterprise, we're thinking about how can we be that adaptable and that resilient, because we need to be. So the oceans are changing, and when we think about the business ecosystem, we're dealing with a number of threats now that we have not dealt with before. And it's more than just sharks in the water, the proverbial sharks. So there are three challenges that we have, and I think really drive us towards a different behavior for protecting our enterprises. So we have an incredible growth in insecure IoT, and you heard that from Nadav. This is going to continue to present challenges to us. It's a legacy infrastructure for the most part, but we also have consumer IoT that the price point isn't there for folks to think about integrating security into these. They're being driven to be first of market. They're being driven to have ease of use, and security is not a focal point. We also have the second trend that I think is really important is the continued blending of personal and work lives. So we think about that, as individuals, we bring our data everywhere, and we want that experience, we want that rich presence served everywhere that we have, not only in our personal lives and data, we're commingling everything. All of that is coming to work and needs to be managed. And those trends are really changing how we're thinking about the ecosystem. Now, the question you have to ask yourself is, how are we able to respond as businesses? So when you have a security event happen, is this an all hands on deck event, or can you really keep your business operation moving? Is this a disruptive event? And how well are you dealing with this merging of physical and digital, of the work life and the private life coming together? And how well are you adapting to all of these new things coming into your ecosystem, these devices that were not designed to be protected? How able are you to integrate these and protect yourselves? So one of the things we like to think about is being a living organism, and think about our ecosystems as being living organisms. So we not only need to be able to detect and monitor, we need to think, and ideally think ahead and respond. And so if you think about this in the animal construct, the animals that survive are the ones that are highly adaptable and have developed those advanced techniques. And those advanced techniques could be flight, those could be stealth, those could be hiding, a number of things that animals will do, and it's survival of the fittest. Those are the ones that survive. And we too need to think about those techniques and what are the things that we're doing to change our attack surface. Because all of those trends I mentioned further expose us and give us a much richer attack surface that our adversaries are going to go after. So we think there are 3 paradigm shifts that need to happen. And the first one on there, you're probably thinking, wait, unified identity, isn't that an old thing? It is, but we still aren't doing it right. So we think about unified identity. Again, we need to bring together this idea of persistence, of knowing at every point in time the who, what, where, when that entity is. And we can say asset, but an asset could be a person, it could be a cell phone, it could be a computer, it could be a Docker container full of data. You need to be able to understand that and make judgments about it at every point in time. The idea of persistence is where we think about AI. We think about cognitive models and other behavioral biometrics that actually give us some reassurance over time that that's a continued persistent identity. And infrastructure and security as code. This is really probably one of the most important things we can walk away with, is if we start thinking about our security services and our infrastructure as code, we really free ourselves, and we actually build our networks around that. So think about containerizing your security services and making them on demand. In combination with good orchestration, this is a really exciting place to be because it lets you scale, it lets you move quickly. And if you took it a step farther, you'd probably think about some of the exciting things that are happening in serverless. And serverless also has an interesting advantage, although you probably don't want to consider it for most things, but for the ad hoc things, for the things that are bursty, serverless is really interesting because your footprint comes up and it goes away. You appear, you disappear. Again, from nature, that also reduces your attack surface. And again, having a dynamic attack surface, not being flat on your feet, not having the same appearance to your adversaries all the time. And if you're doing this in an advanced way, you're going to be doing this so that your adversaries cannot get a toehold. Whatever toehold they got, you just removed and recreated it somewhere else, or hid it, or used one of the other advanced techniques. So leading businesses are doing this already. And again, just quickly, we've actually helped one organization think about containerizing security services, implementing that through Docker, and also implementing their business processes through that so they can quickly assemble them. And the benefit to them is that now they can operate much more agilely, offering their customers a completely differentiated experience through increased bandwidth. The challenge is to outthink and to outmaneuver. And by using some of these advanced techniques and some of the things that you'll learn over Cyber Week, this is our objective. Because this is where we want to be. We want to be happily swimming in a nice, peaceful ocean where there are no adversaries. And we can create this reality. Thank you.